So, what would hypothetically, all right, just go with it for a second. Don't beat me up, please. Hypothetically, what would happen if someone came forward and said that they had DNA evidence, DNA evidence that they were this direct descendant of George and Martha Washington? What do you think would happen? When I was reading this book and they were doing all this stuff, I was like, what would, hypothetically, because it's not, you know, Georgie never had any children, biological children. He had stepchildren. But I'm just saying, hypothetically, what would happen if someone came forward and said that they were the biological child of George and Martha Washington, or even George and some unknown mistress? Hypothetically, just saying. I was just wondering that. I don't know why this. I was thinking about this when compared with this, but it was just a thought. Don't beat me up for it, please. It was just a thought. So, welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina K-R-S-T-I-N-A. This is where I read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, no fancy smanchy stuff going on here. And I got my pals. Leaf Sonata and Z-Book and Trudy and Selena, my pals. Now, this book came out in November and I've been on the waiting list at my library for months. It's book 19 of the Cotton Malone series. If you have not watched my previous videos on Cotton Malone, especially as if of all the videos of Steve Berry that I do, the Patriot Threat is the #1 video you should be watching for Steve Berry. That's the #1. So I was, like I said, it took a few months. I was on the waiting list. I went into a thrift store this morning. I'm serious. I've got my own copy now. Ta-da! There it was on the shelf. $2 whole. It's like, yes! Sold! Because it hasn't even made it into the bookshop yet. And when it gets into the bookshop, it's going to still be a new book. And we charge $5 for new books. But in the thrift store, it was 2. So yes! Give it! Okay. So I started reading with this book, and I finished reading with this book. So it's kind of alright. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 8 people. I wrote my little list here. These are the 8 people that you have to pay attention to in this story. And it's kind of hard. So a long time ago, well, you have the Jason Calden Rickner. I mentioned Stephanie, but her role is like this big. Eric's, Thomas Newberry's, Stefano, Sergio Cardinal Ascolani. He's the bad guy. He's the #1 bad guy. And Thomas does some stuff for him. And then we also have Stefano, who's leaning toward the bad guy situation too. And then we have Charles Cardinal Stam, Stamm. And I couldn't decide which side of the fence he was on, if he was good or bad. And then Camilla Baines, she's head of this family organization. And she's on the fence too. She does some bad stuff at the end, but up until a certain point, she's like a mafia mob boss. So, a long time ago, and I don't, ha, me glasses. So, a long time ago, in 1512, in Italy, we had a little bit of a situation. And there was the Papazzis and the Medicis. They were two big, huge families. And all this stuff went on. There's huge amount of details. Large amount of details with the stuff going on. They even ended up burning people and hanging them at this stake and all this kind of stuff. A lot of nasty stuff went on. And supposedly, the Medici, before the Medicis got wiped out, they still had money. They got kicked out, but they still had money. So they went to the Pope, and the Pope was absolutely flat ass broke. He needed money, and he needed it bad. So, they do this thing, and I didn't write down the page number. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It's in the first. He offers. He goes, all right, I will give you this money, but I want. He's gonna give him the pledge of Christ, as the guarantee. It's PIGNUS of Christ, CHRST. And what it means is that I will give you this money and you will owe me a favor for all eternity. There's no expiration on this favor. And I thought the Pledge of Christ was real. Barry had me believing it was real, but it's not. He made it up. I think. Right? Um Aspects of the prologue are taken straight from history. Pope Julius II was indeed ill in 1512, facing the last few months of his life. The Vatican was also in dire financial straits thanks to a combination of Pope Alexander VI, Julius' predecessor, who spent lavishly and Julius' many wars, along with his massive building projects and enthusiastic support of the arts. At the time, the Medici were like banished from Florence thanks to poor decisions made by Piero the Fortunate. They wanted to return. The Vatican wanted money, but to my knowledge, there was no loan nor any pledge of Christ given. Those were my inventions. So I was kind of sad to hear that. But the pledge said, the fictional pledge said, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, let it be clear to all or hearing these present that we, Julius II, Bishop of Rome, Vicar of Jesus Christ, successor of the Prince of Apostles, Supreme Pontiff of the Universal Church, Metropolitan Archbishop of the Rome Province, servant of God, have accepted 10 million gold florins from God's humble servant, Giuliano de Medici, desiring to make this act appeasable to the Lord. We bind ourselves in the Universal Church to return the full sum to Giuliano de Medici and his heir, successor, and his sons no later than 20 years from this day. We are grateful to be served worthily and praiseworthy by the faithful one, which abundance of piety which exceeds the merits of supplements. We shall repay in sum much greater than any he be capable of earning. To that end, the said repayment shall be accompanied by a gift. And it's the pledge of Christ, meaning that we owe you forever. So this guy is gonna run for office. Jason is running for office. And there's this other little scandal going on the side. And one of the guys supposedly, for immunity, he probably got a few dollars under the table. Look, we'll have them they'll offer you immunity if you supposedly tell them XYZ. I'm going to tell you what to use for what I'm going to say. I'm going to say, Tommy, you're going to tell the authorities this. And when you tell the authorities this, but you won't tell them this without the immunity situation. And once they decide, yes, you can have immunity if you tell us the goods. And then, Tommy, you tell them the goods, then I will give you money, Tommy, for what you said, because I'm going to tell you what to say. And what he told him to say was to implicate Richter, to implicate Jason in this situation. And he plants the money. He goes, Jason's got a priest hole, and in this priest hole is all this money, and that means he's on the take, blah, blah, blah. And he's being framed. He's being masterfully framed. And it's all because this other guy, Sergio Cardinal Ascaloni, wants to be the next pope, because the pope in this book is a little on the ill side. And he's considering retirement because he just wants to spend some time with doing his stuff. So Ascaloni wants the position, so he will do anything to get this position, including framing poor Jason for this other stuff. And then, so Patton, our hero, has been hired to document the frame. So Cotton didn't know it was a frame until later. But he goes in, and he goes into the priest hole, and he photographs the money and sees it all there. And just as he's ready to leave, the cops show up. Perfect timing, like it was planned that way. And the alarms in the building weren't on, and others. So it's just a huge frame jump. So then they all go running to Charles Cardinal Stam. And like I said, he could be a good guy or bad guy. And they discuss their battle plans from there. Okay, so with all that going on, there's this guy, Eric. And I was rooting for Eric. And spoiler alert, things don't go well for Eric. I was kind of disappointed after doing all of that genealogical work and having the ecstatic that everything was fantastic, that it was all proven. To what happened, I was very, very, very upset that what happened to Eric at the end. Very, very upset. I was rooting for the guy the whole book. So he discovers that his grandmother has always told him over and over and over again his entire life that he's a Medici. But according to the history books, the Medicis are deceased. The entire line is burnt out. Nobody had any children. It turns out this daughter, Maria, had a child very, 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 very late in life. And she had it with the enemy. It's like the Complicates and the Montague. Don't quote me on that. I know I said it wrong. Romeo and Juliet. The same situation, but much, much older. And so he goes and takes a DNA sample from Maria's body, and then he researches. His grandmother had Maria's books, and yes, Miss Couch Potato, I'm coming. Just give me a few more minutes, okay? You want to come up? You want to come up here? So his grandmother had all Maria's Bibles. So he uses the information in Maria's Bible, and he finds the actual marriage record from 1500. I'm just like, oh. Do you know how hard it is to get through New York? New York, they just didn't keep the records. And trying to do family research in New York, depending on where you are in New York, depending on what town. And this particular town didn't keep records between this time and this time. And if they did keep records, they're in the churches, and most of the churches are gone now. And it just, And it's embarrassing because other places I know I can physically put my hands on the actual real, not an imitation, not a photocopy, not a reproduction, an original document from 1600s. In fact, I've done it. I've got pictures. I've taken physical pictures of books from the 1600s, but not New York. I'm stuck at 1880 in New York. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing as all hell. My other lines, other states go. They go back. But not New York. Pain in my caboose. But anyway, I was rooting for this guy. He has money. He has the power. He gets the graves opened up. He gets the DNA. He finds the marriage record. Yes, Eric, go! He finds the guy's grave, and he gets the DNA sample, and it's proven, spoiler alert, sorry, that he is 100%, these are his biological greats. So it's all proven. And, poor Eric didn't get to see the fruit of his labor, and I was really kind of pissed off about that. But then they were off to searching for the document, the pledge that says, I'm going to give you this, the Medici's going to give the Pope this money, and the Pope makes this pledge that I will owe you a favor forever, that the church will owe you a favor forever. And apparently, it has never been called in. And like I said, the Escalani guy doesn't want it to come out. He wants to be the next pope, and he will do anything. In fact, he has hired people. He hired Thomas and Stefano. Oh, your two killers here, or whatever. And to stop Cotton, to stop Eric, to stop these people from the East, to just stop it, to cease and desist, and things just go six ways to Sunday at the end. Cotton gets in danger. His life is threatened a few times. Jason's life is threatened. They're all threatened, all because of this Sergio Cardinal Ascaloni. He's a real bad guy. So, you'll have to check it out. But if you have not checked out my Patriot Threat video, you've got to check that book out. You've got to check that video out. Read the book. It's just the Patriot Threat. Whenever I recommend Steve Berry, I tell them Patriot Threat. Number one book of his for me. Absolutely. Number one. And the other number one book is The Apothecary from last year. And was it Sarah Penner? She's coming out with a new one in the next month or so. We'll have to check that out too. But so that is book 19, Cotton Malone. And this thing has genealogical information in it. Genealogical search. He does better than most people because he has the money to go to these places. And Europe does a better job, any of keeping records. We here in this it's just too much. But anyways, please hit the like and subscribe. Let me know I'm doing a good job here. I think the shorts have pretty much ended by now. I ran out unless I find a new book. So it's just me book videos now, and don't forget If Thens on Fridays. I'm working really hard on those. And I just had it. Oh yeah. Don't forget Flashback Mondays. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good one.